Most films have a myriad of motivations for wanting to go and see them, but I think in this case we all know why we went to see this movie. It's ironic how Renfield himself complains of back pain at one point, he was lying, but still, when we all know who must actually have a seriously aching spine from carrying the entire thing on his own. Nicolas Cage was clearly having fun here, and it did help the experience, but as good as it could be to watch, his zany antics can't save the entire thing. Renfield's biggest problem to me is that it just feels so formulaic. They had one idea, one concept, and they didn't really do that much with it. Rather like Dracula with the victims Renfield was bringing him, I felt disappointed in how lacking in freshness the whole film was. Nothing really felt original or unique, and instead basically just became the type of film you can just let wash over you and not really think about. This will be fine for some people, but I was a bit bored by it. I love me some blood and gore more than most people find normal, to be honest, but I prefer violence that's either A, realistic and gritty, John Wick, Punisher, or B, stylized in an interesting and vibrant way, like in Watchmen or Dredd, for example. This was definitely attempting to be stylized, very goofy and campy, but it kind of just fell flat. The blood effects looked okay, but just so over the top and ridiculous in a pretty vanilla way that it just didn't do much for me. There was one kind of cool shot of Renfield flying backwards from a strike, but aside from that, I don't remember any cinematography other than some crisp camera work for like 2 seconds in the opening shot. All of the filmmaking aspects are just fine across the board. As for the characters, Renfield was likeable enough thanks to the reliable Nicholas Hoult, but the protagonist himself is very one-note with his shtick. Then again, that pretty much describes everyone in this film, one note. Rebecca as a whole is just such a boring cliche, and Awkwafina was fine, but very much the same as she felt in every other film I've seen her in, just completely mediocre. Ben Schwartz as Teddy was also just completely bland and uninteresting to me. No one else really stuck out at all except maybe Bella Francesca Lobo. I like Shore, I'm not even going to try and pronounce her name, I'm going to put it on the screen, I don't want to fuck it up, and she added a bit of flair to things, but as I said before, Cage carries this so hard it isn't even funny. And honestly, his outing as Dracula wasn't a Cage knockout either. It was entertaining, but by Cage's high standards it was pretty average. All in all, I just don't think this stood out enough or did anything innovative with its concepts. It's not terrible, but it's just run-of-the-mill and forgettable for the most part. I'd say see it if you're a Cage fan enough to just watch anything he's in, or if you just want to see something fun and simple for an excuse to go to the cinema. Otherwise, you aren't really missing anything special by skipping it, in my opinion.